album.
Mahashmashana.
Mahashmashana. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. It's the sixth studio album by American musician Josh Tillman under the stage name Father John Misty. It was released on November 22nd, 2024. The title is a word in Sanskrit meaning great cremation ground. All right, Eric, your thoughts on this album?
I have never heard of this guy before,
Oh,
so
whoops.
couldn't tell you. So all you diehard fans out there, please don't come after me, at least, or us. I think Kems, you're in the same boat as me with this.
Yeah, for the most part.
I thought it was an interesting sounding record. I got very hot, like heavy Neil Diamond vibes from this guy.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear it
and
now. Yes.
and I was like, this guy's like trying to be like Neil Diamond. Um, Granted, I wouldn't say he's the new Neil Diamond, but because I can't compare him to the other stuff. But I mean, album comes in at an hour, like 50 minutes, 8 songs. Um, First song almost 10 minutes long,
Yep.
which I'm all for long songs, but I don't know for a generic listener to get a first, like, hey, this is my album for 10 minutes long. That's pretty ambitious. Like, I could see it being like in the middle of the album or at the end of the album.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff I liked about the album and there was stuff I hated, but I didn't overly hated the album too much.
Oh, interesting.
I really like the song She Cleans Up. That was probably my favorite song on the album.
Okay.
Mental Health was pretty good. Um, yeah, I just got this. He's just wants to be like Neil Diamond vibe. That's what I got out of this.
That's so interesting. Okay, so me listening to it, I didn't jump directly to Neil Diamond, but now that you mention it, I get why you're saying that because I think tonally and sort of the musical choices that are in there, it is very Neil Diamond with like sort of the waltzy ballady strings and sort of a swing type of sound that he has.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. But I would say I don't know if I would tell people that this sounds like Neil Diamond because
Yes,
the music itself is like in a completely different genre ballpark.
absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely.
what I sort of leaned towards in this album was I felt it was more Dylan. I've got Bob Dylan vibes out of this because I was like, oh, these are like you name a song Mental Health and you start freaking repeating Mental Health as the chorus, you're trying to say something like that's a bit deeper than the average pop song on the radio. Even the third song, what's it called? Josh Tillman and the Accidental Dose. Like there is a bit of an artsy thing in there where he's referring to himself in the third person and using his real name rather than his stage name, Father John Misty. Like there's a deeper thought process in here as from like an artist's perspective. So I was like, this is a bit Dylan-y on this one.
That's a good point. That's a good point because lyrically, I would agree with you for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like a Bob Dylan meets Neil Diamond.
Bob Dylan, yeah, and a bit of the Cure in there also because I feel like a lot of these songs were a lot more somber, definitely a slower tempo. I feel like a lot of it was meant to just like really like listen to and try to. You're supposed to really pay attention to this music, and it's not supposed to be like a do chores in the background type of music for this one. Even Screamland, I think it was the song where it's just such a loud song. Like just the mixing, it's the one that stands out to me on the album because the chorus is just jacked up in terms of volume where it starts just hard clipping the whole time and it is intentional. So I'm like, okay, there's like some stuff you're like working through on this one. But I sort of appreciated it because it was like, it's adventurous. It's like, you're not afraid to like
Mm-hmm.
not be popular or not liked.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, like the songs are long. It's the whole album's like 50 minutes. The opening track is 9 minutes 19 seconds. I didn't actually mind the long songs. I
Mm-hmm.
actually like long songs for the most part. I found it interesting that he opened the album with a 9 minute and 19-second song. That's a pretty bold choice. But
It's pretty ballsy
yeah, but
because usually that's near the end of the album
oh yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
they have
yeah,
a long one, right?
yeah. But my favorite song on this album is I Guess Time Just Makes Fools of Us All, which
Yeah, that
is
was a good song.
the seventh song, second last one, clocks in at 8 minutes and 35 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was listening to it, I was like, oh, this is a really good song. And like it just kept going. And by like minute 6, I was like, this is still going? what's going on with this? Like I actually noticed during listening that I was like, oh, this is a really long song. But I liked it. I liked that it was trying to tell a story and it was just a really long thing. But I'm wondering how much, and I hate that we keep tying this back, but Taylor Swift's All Too Well, the 10-minute version going number
Mm-hmm.
1 on Billboard. I wonder how much that has an impact on artists just going like, fuck it. We're not going to do a 3-minute song. If the thing has 20 verses, we're just going to put it out 20 verses.
Yeah, like I would argue the fact that most people who write those long songs though are usually telling a story. It's like a
Yeah.
big, it's like a little, it's like a novella
Yep.
for music.
Yep.
So because I know the Tragically Hip has done it, and it's a story like it just it's supposed to take you on this journey, which it does. Like the first song absolutely does, and I quite like the first song. I also like long songs, but uh, whereas Taylor Swift, I'm wondering if she had verses kind of made, and when she was actually coming down to finalize the song, she picked the verses that actually made the album. But then when she decided to release the long version of the
Yeah.
song, I think she's just like, fuck it, I'll just add everything in there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
Of course.
so I think she was kind of just playing around with the words in her case. But I
Mm.
could be wrong. Some Swifty is going to do a diehard check on that and school me in the comments.
I'm
So
I'm pretty sure it's the record exec who's just like, you cannot release a 9-minute 10-minute song. You need to
and
cut this down.
most radio executives I would agree would not let you do that
Yeah.
if they could help themselves.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if that just like once the 10-minute version got released, like does that open the floodgates for other artists who
Mm-hmm.
just want to do long songs? Because like this album, what's the shortest song on this one? 4 minutes 17
Mm-hmm.
seconds, I think.
Which is still a long
That's still a long
song
song.
according to record producers or
Yeah.
record companies.
Yeah.
I think Taylor Swift is definitely given people more confidence to do it because of just how big she is.
Mm.
But uh, like it's annoying because this has been done before. Like Rush
Yes.
did it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Rush did it, and their company's like, you got to listen to us, damn it, you guys are gonna fail. And they're like, that's it, if we fail we want to go out with a bang. And then they came up with 2112 Overture,
Yeah.
and it blew people's mind holes.
Yeah.
So um I mean, I think for the most part, it's if an artist like this guy, Father John Misty, releases this, he's going to do it solely based off of for himself, not for anybody else.
Right. Yeah. 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 No, that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I really like the album. I enjoy the long songs. I like
Mm-hmm.
how the whole thing is structured. And like I think the more you listen to it and if you really pay attention to it, it feels like there's more to learn every time you listen to these songs. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should be for the casual listener, and I feel like being ballsy and putting the first track as such a long song, I to a certain extent I think that is intentional because it's like, well, I already know this isn't going to be consumed by the general masses.
Mm-hmm.
I might as well put the challenging song at the very front. and then my fans will
Mhm.
love it, but everyone else, like, whatever, screw that, screw them.
Absolutely.
um I don't know, I like the album. I thought it sounded really good. um
Yeah, it kinda had this cool vintage feel to it,
it was,
which was
yeah.
also nice, like, and that's, like, not that it was because of the Neil Diamond thing, but, like, even, like, it pulled you in towards thinking it was Bob Dylan,
Yes,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, it just has that just gritty oldness about it that's kind of cool.
Hmm. Yeah, it has that, like, golden age of Hollywood type of feel to it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it very clearly is more of a modern album. Like, it doesn't sound like a Frank Sinatra record. It sounds more like oh, what's that guy's name? He has that song. Ooh, I have to Google this. Sweet something. It's like the Hosier.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's got that sort of low, deep voice type of thing going on.
Mhm.
All right, Eric. Final thoughts, ratings. What are you gonna give this one?
I agree with you. I don't think this is something that I would recommend unless you're into like poetry or storytelling or art, or if you're really into music and songwriting and stuff like that. Um, I quite enjoyed it. There were parts that I didn't like of the album, and I think it was just sort of for song preference to me, but uh, I didn't hate it. So I'm gonna give this a 7.5 out of 10
Ooh,
for me.
nice.
Yeah.
7.5. Um, I do agree. This is, there's like bands and albums out there that are for musicians, right? And like a Dream Theater record is that's
Yeah.
for musicians, right? Like,
Dream Theater is for musicians
yeah,
in
like,
total.
this is not for anyone else other than musicians, right? It's
Mhm.
just to marvel at the fact that they can play those things and they've come up with those parts. Like, that's literally what those records are.
I'm sure if I took my wife to a Dream Theater concert, she'd be like, "What the hell is going on right now? We're
And
not even done the first song, babe."
and I sort of feel like this album sort of falls into that category, not in the aspect that it is doing like musical gymnastics, but from a songwriting perspective, I think it's an album for songwriters. And if
Mhm.
you really enjoy songwriting or songwriters, I think this is the record that you should listen to from this year, because there is like a lot going on from a songwriting perspective on this record. I think instrumentation wise, it's like pretty sparse. Like, it's not like it's still a wall of sound, but it's not like a bunch of notes just like going through the whole record. There's a lot
Mhm.
from a like lyrical perspective that this has. So from that aspect, in terms of what I feel like he was trying to accomplish on this record, I am actually going to give this a 9.5 for this record.
Wow.
Just because
Oh, why the point 0.5 off from 10?
I think so. Historically, I've always given like records I really like, that I think are like pretty near masterpieces. I've always given them the lesser point because I feel like they are always missing that one hit single, that one hook
Mm.
that you're going to come out from after listening to this whole record, you're going to hum at the end.
Mhm.
From this one, it's just so close. Like, in my brain, I still remember, I guess time just makes fools of us all, but I don't have a specific melody that's just sort of like an earworm on this record or even on
Mm.
that song. That's the one element that I'm missing from this record. Other than that, I don't think I change anything on this record. Even Screamland, where I think it's just way too loud, but I think that is the intention. Like, I can't believe he hard clipped the chorus, but that's
Mhm.
like, I feel like it's intentional.
Mhm.
Uh, Even that, I wouldn't change it. So it's just missing that earworm for me. It's just that one signature thing that needs to be on a masterpiece of a record.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna give it a 9.5. I think it is, for any songwriters out
Ooh.
there or people that love just songwriting. I think this is the record you should listen to for this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely recommend it if you fall into that category too, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So that was our discussion on Father John Misty's. I'm gonna attempt this one more time. Mahashmashana. Is that close?
It is
Mahash.
Mashana.
Mahashmashana.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
I actually watched him talk about it in an interview
okay.
because I just wanted to make sure that I'm not an idiot. So people in the comments, because I love people in the comments are like, "You guys are idiots."
Speaking of, we do have some fan mail. We have some time,
Ooh.
I think. Oh yeah, we have a few minutes. Well,
Let's do it.
we have one fan mail. This is from our review of Emptiness Machine by Linkin Park.
Oh no.
So someone has messaged us in, and they've written in and said, "Crazy takes, LMAO. Mike's a great singer, and Overflow is the best track on the album. People who just want more of the same rehashed are so boring. Sorry."
I don't think I said that they were like now coming down to the song thing. It's personal preference. Sure, you like Overflow, but I don't know. Like Mike Shinoda isn't like why you're going to see Linkin Park
From a singing perspective.
from a singing perspective.
Yes. Yeah, no, of course.
Right.
Like I have issue with people calling Mike a great singer. I think he's a fabulous backup singer, as we stated in that episode, but he's not. He's not.
I'm gonna say
lead
something
singer.
that's gonna get that guy wound up.
Oh no.
You ready for this?
Okay.
So Mike Shinoda, I would compare him to an average music student taking vocal lessons.
I don't disagree
Like
with
they're
that
good.
take, though.
They're good, but they're like, yeah, you're a good singer, and then you're here to perfect your craft. Right?
Yeah, I don't know how anyone makes the argument that he is a naturally gifted singer. I think he probably has worked very hard to get to the point where he's at, and on the record, it's fine as a backup vocal, but like as a lead vocalist, this is just not. It's not something people are going to buy the record for. It's just like insane. And I guess to the second point, people who want rehash stuff, boring, blah blah blah. I think that goes back to our statements that, you know, we wanted Hybrid Theory, we wanted Meteora for a return, because that was like, you know, what we felt like was Linkin Park. And to this person's credit, like Linkin Park hasn't been that band in, I don't know, 15 years or something, right? Like Meteora came out in 2003, I think that's when it.
Yeah. And like to this guy's point too, he does make a good point, because obviously with Emily joining the band, I think I got her name right this time. When she like it's not going to be Chester, so it's obviously not going to sound the same, right?
Yes,
so
yeah.
like I understand that, and I still like their sound. Like I still think the album sounds good, but you know, it's that diehard fan in you that you're just like, oh man, it's just not just not Chester. But I do like, it'll be interesting. I'm interested and intrigued to see where the band goes now. So
anyways, that was the fan mail for this week. For those of you following along with us every single week, the album that we are going to be discussing, and this will be the final episode of the year, will be Snoop Dogg's Missionary, produced by
that's
Dr.
the
Dre.
album cover.
Yep, that's the album cover.
That's hilarious.
So Snoop Dogg's Missionary. We're going to be obviously taking a break next week because it is the holiday season. But our last episode will be on December 30th on Monday. So we're switching back to our Monday schedule at 10 p.m. ET, 7 p.m. PT here at twitch.tv/the Crossroads Music Podcast. And we're going to be discussing Missionary by Snoop Dogg. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode of the Crossroads Music Podcast. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, all those great places. Chasing Dragonflies. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you all next time. And just let us know.
Happy holidays.
Yes, happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Let us know if we've been naughty this year, reviewing all these albums.
I feel like, I don't know, when we talk to each other about these albums, I always feel like our opinion is right, but then I go on the internet and people just say you guys are dumb.
It's actually kind of funny because I feel like that too. Whenever we have our conversations, and these are for the people listening to this podcast, we have these conversations. We're like, yeah, you're totally right. This is trash or whatever it is. And then we go read the comments and we're like, oh, wow, they really harshly disagree with us.
Like Sabrina Carpenter, like 4th best album of 2024. We're just like, there's no way.
No way.
There's no way. All right. Anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in. We will catch you all next time.